Hey everyone, welcome to Alice and Bob. Today we talk about the Kusama Crowdloan, who will win the Parachain slot number 4, and who is in the game. If you like the content, make sure to like and subscribe and also follow us on Twitter. So let's jump in. To set the stage, let's take a look at who did win the first 2 slots and who will win the third slot on Tuesday. So the first and second slot go to Karura and Moonriver. You can see that Karura, the DeFi hub, locked in 500,000 KSM tokens. And they are a decentralized exchange that offers swap of tokens, they offer stablecoin, and they offer liquid staking. And then we have Moonriver. It's EVM compatible, so it's an Ethereum-like platform for Kusama. They will enable a lot of dApps and apps and cool tools, and they locked in 200,000 tokens. You can see that about 14,000 individual accounts and 6,000 individual accounts contributed. So that gives us a feel for the numbers that are in play. And what we can also see is that Shiden network will win the third slot with 135,000 currently bonded KSM, and they have about 4,400 individual contributions. Okay, so this sets the stage, and now we can ask which of all of these networks is going to win. And because the user interface here is not able to sort by the amount of tokens that are currently bonded, I created my own sheet. You can see it's sorted by the number of KSM that is currently bound. And I selected those networks that currently have more than 5,000 KSM bonded, and then 2 other networks which haven't started yet but could come in later. And we are going to discuss those networks and see who of them could win the 4th Parachain slot. And of course you have the front runners here. So basically this is Khala network and Bifrost. So what Khala network wants to do is they want to offer confidential compute cloud. So what they want to offer is a compute cloud where you can do computations, heavy processing, number crunching basically, send in programs, and it should run in a confidential way. So it's not public, but the computations are confidential and you basically pay for the compute power. So it's another addition, it's a different type. It's not like Moonriver who do everything in public, but it's confidential. And they are the current front runner for the 4th slot by having 40,000 KSM bonded by 1,700 different accounts. Okay, and then you have Bifrost, and they basically offer a liquid staking token. So from what I see, it's basically similar to what the Karura network offers with their liquid staking token. They have a graphic that basically makes this understandable, because the idea of liquid staking is that you currently have this conflict of either you stake your tokens and then they are bound and you can't do anything with them, or you use them in Parachains, you use them in DeFi and dApps or in a decentralized exchange. The idea of liquid staking is that you stake them with a protocol. For example, you stake your KSM or your DOT tokens, and then you get a different token that represents the staked token. So for example, in Karura, that's liquid KSM and liquid DOT for a Khala. And for the Bifrost network, they will call it a V token. So that's VKSM or VDOT. And this token that you get then represented, it will appreciate with the staking rewards. So it will gain value from that, but you can also use it in other ways. So you can use it for all of the other protocols in the DEX and DeFi as a dApp or in any other use case. So this is Bifrost, and so it's an interesting use case, but the question you have to ask is it similar to what Karura will offer, or is it different? And then what's the different value proposition that this has to offer? If we will gain this with Karura, does it make sense to get it from a different network also? But what you also have to consider is that Karura is still bootstrapping, and it's not a given that they will enable all features at once, but it's also likely that they will enable one feature after the other. Maybe it's possible to consult the Karura roadmap, which is public, and maybe there is some information there, but that's a question you can ask. Okay, and then you have a few runners-up that are not in the same range and that aren't as likely to win the slot yet, but you also have to consider the game will only start on Tuesday, and then there will be 1.5 or maybe 2 days of time before the ending period starts, where there is still the possibility that significant amounts of tokens could be added, maybe by some capital investment or some whales, maybe medium-sized whales who want to contribute. So this game will actually only start on Tuesday, and then we will see how the playing field develops. So that's why I decided to cover those two. I mean, there are also tokens that or networks that have smaller amounts of KSM bonded, but then you have to ask, why did they put in not such a strong start? Okay, so let's just talk about those networks for a second. We have PolkaSmith. They call themselves a production hub for DeFi and NFT apps. So basically, I think they are offering a platform, so a starter platform where new products can start off, and maybe they offer programming modules or different things that should enable DeFi and NFT apps to start up. Then we have the Altair network, and their idea is to tokenize real-world assets. It's a very interesting idea. So you could have stocks or commodities or other things that are tokenized and then could be traded. So I think this could add a lot of value to the overall ecosystem. Then you have Crust, and it's basically a decentralized cloud platform. So they want to offer storage and they want to offer compute power. So similar to Khala network, but they don't emphasize the confidentiality, but they emphasize the cloud aspect. So they want to offer storage and compute. So you could see them as a competitor to maybe Google Cloud or AWS and so on. Okay, and then the last thing of the last ones of those runners up is Robonomics, and what they offer, I think it's very interesting, but it's a little bit hard to grasp. It's serverless IoT, Internet of Things. So the ideas of robots or smart cities or anything in the real world that connects to the internet. So the Internet of Things and this should be maybe the gateway to the blockchain world. So if the Internet of Things wants to access the blockchain, it could be done via Robonomics. And so this is also a very interesting concept, and it could add a lot of real world economic value to our ecosystem. And so it's also a very interesting project, which I have my eyes on. So, and then we have two networks that are left to talk about that caught my attention, and this is Basilisk and Kilt. They haven't added themselves to the Crowdloan yet, and so the question is, why do I even talk about them? And so let's start with Basilisk. And so they caught my attention when they put out this tweet, going for number 4, get your KSM ready, and they posted this picture. And so what Basilisk is all about is the snack memes. So what is Basilisk actually? It's not. So the question is, was it a joke or not? But they doubled down on this, and when Polka Warriors mentioned them and created an infographic detailing the tokenomics and also confirming that they are going for slot number 1. And this has been retweeted by Basilisk, so it seems they are serious about this. So what is Basilisk? They have a very funny website, so they have a very strange and weird aesthetic, but what they want to do is they are a liquidity protocol, and so they want to go for multi-asset liquidity pools. So liquidity pools, swaps are exchanges where you can swap from one asset to a number of assets, not only to one-on-one exchange, but one to several other exchanges. And it's a very interesting concept. You maybe have heard of curve finance, and you might see that there is some sort of a similar aesthetic. Not exactly. This is a lot more weird, but in the case the font they choose, and I think it's intentional because they are also in the same. They're fishing in the same pool. They have the same idea of having multi-asset pools. And this is a very interesting for me because Curve Finance is actually a DeFi platform where there currently, I think, is a lot of money being made. So this is something I have my eyes on. And then we have one last platform I want to talk about, and this is Kilt. So, and their thing is self-sovereign credentials. Sometimes it's also called social KYC, or maybe I call it an identity provider. So the idea is you have an identity on chain and you want to be self-sovereign about it. You want to be, they want to offer anonymity, and so they want to put you in control about your credentials. And if you visit their website, their Parachain website, on their timeline, they what they are showing is that in Q3 they plan, they hope to have their slot 1, and they you see that the auction bidding starts right at the edge of Q3. So this is actually just right now because we're at the start of the third quarter. And so I expect them to join the Parachain auction soon, but from what I have gathered on social media, they have not made any announcement yet on when they actually want to join. So maybe they still are looking at what is happening. Maybe what I think they are going to do is try to self-fund their slots, so they are not doing a crowd loan, possibly. And this would mean that you won't see them in the Crowdloan module, but they will just jump in when they think it's their time, when they think they have enough tokens. And basically they have the information because every time a Crowdloan closes, we see the actual number, what it actually cost to invest and to get that actual slot. And this number is going down. We have started with 500,000, we continued with 200,000, and now we are going for about 135,000. And so if we have maybe a fourth and a fifth data point on this, we can draw a curve and see, like extrapolate how much it costs to get into the system and actually participate. And it will get a lot more exciting, and there will be a lot more going on as the number goes down, because it will get easier for networks to get in, and so the actual real bidding can start, because right now the bidding is just, if you go into the auction step, it's just always the same network. But I think maybe not on the fourth and fifth slot, but then maybe from the sixth slot onward, we could see that there is actually flipping going on during the auction, and actually real action going on. So this will be very interesting. And that actually brings us to the end of the video, but I would be interested in what you have to say about this, because maybe I missed a network that could go in for the fourth slot. Maybe you have some hot topics that I could investigate, or video ideas, or actual questions on the crowd loans. So I would be interested to see that in the comments or just on Twitter. If you have KSM ready, that you want to invest in the crowd loans, but not just yet because you're holding them back for one of those networks that have very interesting use cases, you shouldn't let your KSM sit in the meanwhile and do nothing. You can earn interest on your KSM, and you could support our channel and earn interest by nominating our validator node. And yes, that's it for the video. If you like the content, make sure to like and subscribe. Also follow us on Twitter and the socials. You can find all the links in the description. Thank you guys for tuning in, and see you next time. Stay safe.